The reading for today is from Real Moments by Barbara DeAngelis. She says, "Of all the wonders life on earth has to offer, none is greater to me than love. Love infuses life with meaning. It performs magic and miracles. It brings light where there was darkness and hope where there was despair. It is your greatest teacher and your most constant blessing. Love is a force more formidable than any other. It is invisible, yet it is powerful enough to transform you in a moment and offer you more joy than any material possession could. Love is the magician of the universe. It creates everything out of nothing. Love produced you. Without it, you wouldn't be here at all. Love sanctifies life. Where love is, you are given a glimpse of the sacred. You will rise above your humanness and see the world through heavenly eyes. But most of all, I believe love offers you an opportunity for deep spiritual awakening. For when you love, the usual boundaries which separate you from something else dissolve. You transcend the illusion of separation which defines human existence, and you experience oneness." And so it is.
So it is.
So if you
Welcome to those of you who may have just arrived in the sanctuary. The theme for the month of February is All the Colors of Love. This thing is a little fussy today. And as I sat with this monthly theme, a number of really varied thoughts came up for me. Some of them appeared to be rather deep and insightful, while others at first blush seemed to be a little whimsical. For example, the first thing that I thought about was a heart as the symbol of love itself. It's a symbol that's used all over the world to imply or to actually represent love or the feeling of love. And after that, then I had this thought about the heart emoji. I just say yes, So that heart emoji, those colorful little hearts that are everywhere on our texts, in our emails, on Facebook, various social media feeds, and sometimes even on some of the products that we buy. They're used by everyone around the world to really communicate how we think and feel. Did you know that those emoji hearts have different meanings according to their color? Now, I don't know for certain, but I really suspect, I actually really believe that the possibility exists that we could get ourselves in a little bit of trouble by using a heart emoji that's the wrong color. Especially if we're communicating with someone who has a really deep-set, fixed belief in what those colors mean. Some of you are with me. Now, because I know in part that you all really love the practical conversations, and because I firmly believe that it is part of my responsibility as the spiritual director of this amazing community to create safe environments for all of us to give and receive love, I'm beginning my message today getting us all on the same page about these emoji colors. You laugh. You're going to be glad. Now, the red heart emoji, right? Universally recognized, the red heart is synonymous with true love. Now, this red heart comes in many different shades, and it represents passion, deep connection, romance, friendship and unconditional love. It can be used in romantic and non-romantic situations, as it's often sent out to friends and family at the end of a text message or at the end of an email. I use them all of the time. Now, the yellow heart emoji symbolizes a pureness of heart. It represents a heart of gold. The color yellow is synonymous with new beginnings, with youth, with sunshine, with spring, with purity, and with strength. It radiates and conveys a burst of light or a burst of hope or a burst of clarity. When the heart is colored yellow or gold, it signifies happiness and friendship. The green heart emoji. The green heart can be used for a number of different reasons. It's often associated with envy or jealousy or a possessive kind of love. On the other hand, a green heart can also express hope for reconciliation and friendship. It can also show a connection with a much greener, more healthier side of yourselves, a side that is perhaps more connected to Mother Nature. The purple or violet emoji, heart, can symbolize a sensitive or understanding or really compassionate love. The heart is also quite frequently used to really portray wealth or glamour. And in some countries, in some cultures, the purple color represents regality, somebody's regal. And it also represents power. It demonstrates the attributes of duty and honor. The blue heart emoji can also be used for a number of different emotions and meanings. On one hand, they symbolize a deep attraction, like think deep water or mysterious oceans. They can be a way of expressing the unfathomable depth of a really deep spiritual connection, or it can represent the deeply felt friendship and loyalty of a longtime friend. A blue heart can also symbolize trust, harmony, and peace. And lastly, the orange heart emoji. To send an orange heart emoji means to express great care or comfort and serenity. The color orange is associated with joy and with warmth or heat or sunshine, enthusiasm, creativity, success, and encouragement. Also, the orange heart emoji means that you really want to just stick as friends and not take the relationship to a romantic place. See, I said you could get into a little bit of trouble. Now, I believe that all of the colors and the attributes that they allude to represent all of the colors of love. And now that we're on a more informed page about all of the colors of love, what about this idea of love itself? So love may refer to the specific passionate desire and intimacy of romantic love, or to the sexual love of eros, or to the comfort and emotional closeness of familial love, or to the platonic love that defines friendship, or to the profound oneness of religious love, or to a concept of love that really encompasses all of these different feelings. love is, on one hand, a noun. It is a feeling or an energy that includes being in a state of acceptance, compassion, forgiveness, self-acceptance, healing, intimacy, kindness, grace, peace, joy, humility. It also includes being responsible, being known, and knowing another person. And it also includes caring about the happiness of another without one thought for what you might get out of it for yourself. It contains within it the confidence and the trust and the faith and the courage to risk the unknown, to be able to say yes to the unknown. On the spiritual plane, love is just love. It really defies description. It is that which just simply is and cannot be explained. It asks nothing, it demands nothing, it requires nothing. This love, this pure love, is not selective and it's not exclusive. It doesn't make one person any more special than any other person. It doesn't come with jealousy or possessiveness or manipulation or fear or judgment or doubt or any kind of control. This then brings me to my talk title, The Love of God. Once again, interesting and complex phrase. One that we can take in many different ways. For example, did you know that it could be an oath of shock or exacerbation or annoyance or frustration or even anger? So imagine that you are sitting with a friend, and the friend has been going back and forth for a ridiculous amount of time, arguing with themselves about whether they should do something or not do something. So say, for example, they are wondering whether or not, should I ask her to the dance? Now, after an hour of vacillating back and forth, you finally dial the number and hand the phone to your friend and say, for the love of God, just call her already. Now, I've heard people say it that way, and I may have even said it a time or two myself, but I really have no idea where the saying came from. I spent a lot of time looking all over the internet, Googling this and Googling that, and could not come up with the origin of that saying. Now, it doesn't really matter, however, because I really don't think that that's what we came here to talk about this morning. So instead of talking about that, and because of my own inner call, and because of the power given to me by Centers for Spiritual Living, and because ministers are afforded a certain degree of poetic license, I have added 3 clarifying endings to the sentence, to that phrase. The first is, for the love of God to be given. For the love of God to be given, we have to do nothing. It is said and written that God is love and that love is God. Mystics of all times and of all faith traditions have said that the essential essence of God is love. So it can only be true that if God is love and we were created by and out of God itself, then the inner nature of each and every single one of us must also be love. It is what we are at our very core. We are all spiritual beings having a human incarnation, divine, unique, individualized expressions of God imbued with the essence of love itself. We arrived on the planet with this essence within us. We don't have to wait for it to be given to us. It has already been given to each and every one of us. Ernest Holmes says we believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. The eternal givingness of life to all. Eternal, not just at the beginning when we arrived on the planet, but eternally, always present and always available. It is God's nature to give, and it does without condition and without qualification. Day in and day out. Now, we've been talking about this idea of love as a noun, but it's also a verb, a participatory emotion, and can actually be a context out of which we create the experiences of our lives. It is a choice, and it is a choice that we really need to consciously and consistently make. It is an experience that we really need to participate in if we wish to experience it in our lives. My third phrases reflect my belief that we live in a reciprocal universe, that these two phrases must happen together for us to really be in the flow of life, in the flow of love. They stem from the belief that giving and receiving are one and the same. Therefore, my second phrase is for the love of God to be received. Rumi says, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all of the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. Did you want that one again? Rumi says, for your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all of the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. Marianne Williamson goes on even further to say, our barriers to love are rarely consciously chosen. They are our efforts to protect the places where the heart is bruised. Somewhere, sometime, we felt as though an open heart caused us pain or humiliation. We loved with the openness of a child, and someone didn't care, or laughed, or even punished us for the effort. In a quick moment, perhaps a fraction of a second, we made a decision to protect ourselves from ever feeling that way again. One of those barriers could be that you believe that you do not deserve it. You may believe that you are, at your very core, not a very good person. Or you may know that you are hiding some shadow aspect of yourself that you don't ever want anyone to ever see or know about. Or you could believe that you don't deserve because you're not enough yet, not successful enough, not slim enough, not pretty enough, not good enough, not spiritual enough. And because you have that belief will not allow you to let love in until you actually attain all of those things. And really, what is enough of any of that? We're already whole, perfect, and complete, but can't get much better than that, y'all. Now, you could even feel guilty about receiving love. Perhaps you've been taught that it's selfish or self-centered or egotistical or unspiritual. Or you may feel that receiving love is actually a weakness, that it is better to give than to receive, that somehow giving is a strength while receiving is a weakness. You may fear the obligation that you feel comes with receiving love, or you're afraid of the responsibility. Perhaps your parents or your family or your friends or your coworkers or your teachers imposed conditions upon the love that they gave you. We often learn about love from people who really know nothing about love. It comes with judgment, manipulation, demands, and requests to change from whoever we are to something or someone that we are not. You may have never really learned about or experienced unconditional love, and therefore do not have a mental equivalent of it to draw upon. Because of this, you may believe that receiving love brings a sense of obligation that really shows up as guilt. So you believe that if someone loves you and loves you in some particular way, that you need to love them back. And not only do you need to love them back, but you need to love them back in the same way that they love you. You don't realize that you have a choice in the matter, that we all have a choice in the matter. Perhaps you're too independent and you believe that you can and really should just do everything by yourself. The bottom line is that relationships are assignments in which people come together for mutual growth, so that each individual soul is led to greater awareness and to expanded love. Now, this can't happen. This will not happen if we're always and only ever doing things by and with ourselves. Now, perhaps you're someone who has an image of yourself as being a giver, that you're always giving. You're the nice person who's always doing something nice for everyone else. Now, there's certainly nothing wrong in that, nothing wrong in being nice, except when it comes with some degree of resentment. That would imply then that you are nice because you're always doing nice things for other people, and that other people are not nice because no one is doing anything nice for you. So you have this idea that you are nice and that other people are not nice. Now the problem is that you are too identified or too tied to this behavior in order to really let love in. Because if you think about it, if you were to let love in, then that would mean by your own deduction that other people are nice and that you are not nice. Or you could be really you may have this context for living in which suffering is really the container. So, and you're unable to really let go of that identity in order to be able to really let love in. So, both the martyr and the victim are two ways in which we keep love at bay, in which we keep ourselves from really being able to receive love. Marianne Williamson says, "Love is what we were born with, fear is what we have learned here." The spiritual journey is the relinquishment or unlearning of fear and the acceptance of love back into our hearts. So the invitation is to do whatever is necessary to shine the light of truth upon any barriers that you may have, either consciously or unconsciously within you, and to heal the emotional wounds that you have so that you are fully and able and willing to receive love in your lives. My third phrase is for the love of God to be expressed. Now, Ernest Holmes, in the Science of Mind text, in a section on the teachings of Jesus, says, "The two great commandments are to love God and to love one another, to love your neighbor." Now, as spiritual beings having a human incarnation, to love God with all thy heart and to love thy neighbor are not always easy to stay grounded in. We find that we are often so caught up in worldly concerns, negative emotions, judgmental thoughts, or dualistic beliefs that don't leave enough room within us for the real love of God to be expressed, or for the real love of God to be experienced. We often have interactions with others in our world that have very little to do with love, very little to do with seeing the face of God in everyone we meet. We meet them not from our inner divine core, which is the very essence of love itself, but from fear, from lack, from limitation, from worry, from doubt, or from judgment. We have to be able to look at others and to look at ourselves with the ability to separate the person from their behavior, to separate the person from their actions, to be able to distinguish between the person and the mental conditioning or the programming that they have received in their lives. Now, this unconditional love doesn't tie our hands. It's not about indifference or about actively going along with whatever anybody says or does. We can strongly dislike or reject or even actively oppose what a person is saying or doing and still know who they are at their core and still feel unconditional love for them. The bottom line is that whenever we shut down, we become unavailable to love. We block the flow of life, of love through us. Shutting down the flow of love in any arena of our lives with even one person or one group of people will shut down the flow of love in all arenas of our lives. It's either open or it's closed. And when we love, we are wide open. And when we are wide open, then that love flows in and through and as us. Always. It is a flow that is always moving. It's only in learning to be and express love that the world and all of its inhabitants become whole. It is only when we love that we truly express who we truly are. In order to truly love one another, we must open the door of love within ourselves and allow ourselves to receive love and to express love. The invitation is to love at all times and in all situations. Gandhi says, love is the greatest force the world possesses, and yet it is the humblest imaginable. It doesn't force, the universe doesn't force this love upon the world, but only exerts itself, love only exerts itself through us. When we allow it to express through us, it's a power. It's a force that is transformative. Pure love has the power to bless everyone and everything, and in doing so, the world will change. The invitation today is to be that change agent. For the love of God, please be willing to be an inlet and an outlet for love itself. And as always, it is our choice. And so it is. So please turn within. Close your outer eyes if you're comfortable in doing so. Allow ourselves to turn away from the world of form and to turn inward to the center of our being, to that inner core of love. I call that inner core love. I call it God. I call it peace. I call it joy. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is the presence of God within me. It is who and what I am at my very core. And because of that, right where I am, love is. In every situation, in every arena, in every circumstance, if I'm there, love is there. And just as I know that that is true for me, I know that it is absolutely true for each and every single one of us. We are a hologram of the divine. In its fullness and in its wholeness, we are the divine's ambassadors here to bring forward that love to the world. And it's from that place of unity that I speak these words about and for each of us today, truly knowing that there is a way that we can live our lives from that inner core of love. That we can, as Miles and Lisa sang, to choose to be love instead of choosing to be right. To choose love over everything else, knowing that only love can smooth the crooked places. Only love can break down barriers and walls, scale mountains. Only love can truly be a place of welcome. And so I claim ease and grace for us around being that space, around saying yes to receiving love, and then open-handedly allowing it to flow through us as we express it in all of the relationships of our lives. Knowing truly that only this flow, this reciprocal flow of love, the giving and the receiving of love, is what will create a world that works for everyone. And I'm so grateful to know this truth, so grateful to speak these words, so grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes, that my words are clothed in form even as they are spoken, and so I speak them and release them with love and gratitude and full expectation of their manifestation, letting go and letting God be God. And we anchor this prayer for ourselves and for each other simply by saying, and so it is. Amen.